Today's episode of Predators who never got canceled in Hollywood and their enablers. James Franco edition. Yes, our friend James and his enabler Seth Rogan are back trending again. And there's some things I think we need to talk about. There's some things we need to talk about. Again, and again, and again, and again. It's never gonna end. Why am I talking about this man? I wish I didn't have to, but he is trending again because Hollywood journalists keep interviewing him. And did you know that him and his girlfriend are still together, and his mom just loves to post about them? You know, men will hide behind the women in their lives. Oh my God, I have so much to say. Buckle up. This man never went away. He's never gonna go away because they will never be canceled. And I'm also going to go into Charlyne Yi and how they tried to warn us. They have talked about this openly and no one cares. But we're going to circle back to them in a bit. And our communal therapy dog, Mose, has decided to stay with us for a bit. So, this is a hard topic. So I try to keep Mose around on hard topics, but, he may peace out at any moment. We appreciate you, Mose. Yes, we do, especially when talking about the Giselle case. So yesterday, I saw this. This came out yesterday, this garbage. Now, shocker, it is a male journalist who wrote this. James Franco on being on new movie Hey Joe. See, he's still making movies. Being grateful for his fall from grace. I love how that is worded as a fall from grace. Getting busted for essaying women and trying to date underage girls is a fall from grace. Okay. And the end of a Seth Rogan friendship. That I do not believe that friendship is over. And I'm going to show you why in a bit. The fact that this man gets to do interviews, the fact that we have to read his ridiculous words is infuriating because he has been trying to make a comeback for a while. But I want to go over the way he minimizes and makes himself the victim. Because the way we can read James Franco and his vision of what he did is how most of these men think and talk, and how the press talk to minimize violence against women in particular, but just men's violence in general. The same way the media minimizes police brutality and, white people's violence as well. That passive voice, that oopsie kind of crap. We get to, in this opening paragraph, we hear all about his style. He looks relaxed. An abuser wouldn't feel relaxed. He'd be nervous. He's in Rome. And I swear, James Franco seems to be hanging out in France a lot because France loves to harbor rapists. The film is his first to surface on the fest circuit since his career went on hiatus following a now settled 2019 lawsuit allegedly he exploited young women who took his acting class. As he casually sips coffee, Franco and I agree that his character is looking for redemption. God, shut up! I'm so mad already. The same be said of Franco. I don't care that he wants redemption. He just wants to make money and have access to women and power. They go into all these movies he made. 127 hours. I owe y'all that movie review. Oh my God. I have 15 movies I've taken all the photos for, and I can't. ADHD brain forgot about, and then I just literally do a lot of work and then forget to do the final part of it. So remind me to do that one because it is so classic of how we just enable ridiculous marathon men, climber men, and how Anyway, Oscar nomination, blah, blah, blah. Franco's career pretty much ground to a halt after a lawsuit. Funny they don't go into the details of this lawsuit, which are horrifying. It likely also cost him his second Oscar nomination after winning his first one at his first nomination after winning the Best Golden Globe actor in 2000. So he won for this movie Golden Globe. So everyone thought he'd win the Oscars too. But his career was ground to a halt because of a lawsuit. The way this man is writing this drives me crazy. I have not listened to this podcast. I do not want to hear interviews by Franco, honestly. And by the way, before I go into this, before this story broke, when I was living in LA, I'm still a part of this group. I was a part of a Facebook group of women in Hollywood, comedians, actors, and stuff. This man, they were trying to get this man They were trying to stop this man for years before that story broke in 2018. This Facebook group had women, so it's more, I believe, than the women that actually went after him. This man was a known predator that women in LA were warning each other about long before this story broke. So I was happy when this story came out, because it's hard to take someone like this man down. In 2021, Franco admitted to sleeping with students in his acting class, saying, "That was wrong. But it wasn't a master plan on my part. I didn't mean." This is the same argument that all the men in the Giselle Pellico case are doing. And again, I'm going to get a breakdown of their arguments. It is next level, like horrifying, but predictable, yet not surprising, yet horrifying all at the same time. And they all say, well, I mean, yeah, okay, you have me on video literally raping her. She's snoring. She's asleep. She didn't consent. But I'm not a rapist because I didn't mean to. It wasn't intentional rape, therefore it wasn't rape. That is what almost all of those men are arguing, and this Forker is saying that right here. It wasn't my master plan. I just happened to sleep with all these women I had power over. Still, he was cast out of Hollywood. The way that they use him as that he was cast out. He was pushed out. Not he did a bunch of terrible things and the consequences of his actions. He didn't do this to himself. Hollywood pushed him out. So Hollywood doesn't want anything to do with him until he got a part of this, the price of money. And where, it came out in France. There's no July, there's no release date in the U.S. Because France just loves to harbor all the people that we kick out, like Roman Polanski, like all the, if you mess up, come to France, hang out here. These days, Franco is thankful for his fall from grace. He just, I just fell out of the sky into hell. It just happened to me. Being told you're bad is painful. It hurts so much that people told me I was bad. But ultimately, that's kind of what I needed to just stop going the way I was going. And what way was that going? Assaulting women. The way I was going. Oh my God, just look. Let's play denial, like Darvo Bingo, okay? Darvo Bingo, Darvo Bingo, Darvo Bingo, Darvo Bingo. Hey! So before we get into the actual interview, he talks about all these movies that just didn't work out. Other movie he worked on didn't get released because of some lewd comments to the actors for whatever, blah, I don't care. Thing with Tom Holland. Please don't let that man show up in any Franco movies. Anyway, during a candid 1-hour conversation, Franco spoke to Variety about contending with the fallout from his misconduct lawsuit. Not all the stuff he did, just from the lawsuit. It's the lawsuit that's the problem, not his action. His joy at being in a long-term relationship and wanting to direct again and falling out with Seth Rogan. So let's get into it. So they're like, how does it feel to be back? And do you feel you were basically canceled in the U.S.? I'm so grateful to be working. I did go through a lawsuit. Conveniently leaves out what the lawsuit's about again. I wasn't, and during the lawsuit I wasn't working. But then COVID hit, so everybody wasn't working. You and me and everyone were all the same. I don't even know if I'm using, this isn't Darvo Bingo. This is literally like Predator Bingo, okay? I mean, so I don't know. It was all like, we were all kind of in on it. We were all suffering from COVID. Like, look at that, sexual news allegation. But we are all not working because of COVID. Forget that I'm a grandpa. During that time when we were all collectively lost, I was sort of like, I don't know who I am. I'm just a lost little baby boy. Where's my mommy? I need to find myself. Like everybody, I was lost and lonely. I'm just like you. This is such a common tactic of abusers, especially celebrities, is they want us to think they're just like us. They're billionaires who, I mean, he's not a billionaire, I guess. Billionaires, they write and, they're polluting that, but I'm just like you. I'm a predator. I raped all these women, but I was in lockdown during COVID, so I'm just like you. That's why I haven't been working. It wasn't all the silly little allegations. Y'all, oh my God, no. But I did certainly use that time to, I hope, I pray, good purpose. And whatever had been going on with me before, being a lost little predator, I had time to change my whole way of life. My whole way of life. So I'm not DMing teenagers on Instagram and assaulting women at the school I created so I could have power over them. No, I'm changing my whole life. My diet, exercise, my prayer, meditation. I'm so surprised I didn't join the Catholic Church or, whatever. They always hide behind addiction and religion. Russell Brand did it. What's his butt? Shia. He's doing... Oh God, don't get me started on that guy. So I'm proud of the kind of work I did during that time. I worked on myself. I did a lot of work to not be a predator anymore. Yeah, I'm sure. And yeah, I wasn't working in movies, but I certainly was doing a lot of work to change who I was. Up until, let's say, the past 8 years before the hiatus. I love that. It's just a little hiatus, It's just a little hiatus. Everybody goes on a hiatus every once in a while. Everybody needs a break. Before the hiatus, before the essay of girls, I had a good career. But it was very hard for me to enjoy it. So even when I had it all, I didn't really enjoy it. So even then I was a victim. I wasn't happy then. So it's not like, so it's like, I don't feel like I really had all that much power and influence and was like, because I really just wasn't enjoying raping these women. Sorry, essaying, whatever. I was a workaholic. Here we go. First time we're going to mention olic. Right? Workaholic, addict, are you a wrong addict too? It's the addiction that made me do it. I was a workaholic. I just worked so hard. I wasn't a lazy predator, graping, essaying, or whatever. I was just working hard. I'm a hard-working American man. I was good all the time. I was going all the time. Just work, never rested. Not even enough time to DM teenage. And even when there were good moments, like a movie that people liked, or I don't know, being nominated for an award or whatever it might be, whatever good moments along the way, I wish I could have appreciated this privileged, powerful, rich life that I had because, but I didn't. So I was a victim before I even got in trouble and went on my hiatus. But I just didn't because I had this weird thing where I was like, I always need more. Oh, we know that. We know that. We know that, one student at your school wasn't enough. At least 5 that we know of. How are things different now? So now after like the pause, the hiatus, and I think changing priorities, I want to date a woman long term and hide behind her and maybe exploit her instead of prioritizing teenage girls. I guess what I seek to fulfill me in life is different. Ultimately, I think I'm kind of grateful because it did afford me a chance to do whatever private work and really change what I need to change. What do you need to change, bro? Can you tell us? Being a predator? I mean, y'all, he's just like us. He's just learning and growing and unpacking, evolving. That's what all humans are doing. So now I'm working and I can just be there for the project. I can really work and not become a workaholic because, I'm there now. I'm cured. And it's not about me trying to fill some hole. Interesting language. Oops, that one dropped out of your mouth. Trying to fill some hole with work, which is funny because his work is where he was doing a lot of this. It's just about, wow, I have like a really great life and I'm really grateful and I hope to serve whatever project I do. So, unlike that selfish little lost boy that I was now, I'm all about helping people, serving people, not filling a literal hole with something that without their consent. Now I want to fill my cup runneth over with gratitude and love and respect. You feel that you being cast out, right? You are the receiver of unfair stuff, not the subject of this sentence. Cast out by these mean Hollywood people. Me too. Do you think that was unfair? I don't know. I can't imagine a woman doing this interview and being able to ask these ridiculous questions. I mean, it is what it is, I just accept things as they are. I am a spiritually grounded person. People want to cast me out and it's unfair. Like, I'm not mad. I've honestly moved past it. Who cares about what those bitches and how they're traumatized forever and may never ever work again or may never give up their career and acting and all these things are important to them or never have a healthy relationship or maybe they'll have drug addictions and maybe they'll, die of suicide. Like, I've moved on. Let bygones be bygones. It was dealt with. It being sexual assault of many people was dealt with. Means I paid them money to shut up and I got to change. So that's it. It's over. Done. It's over. Why are we talking about this? Why are people asking me, why are you even talking about this? Can we just move on? This is what every single man on that trial in France right now, 2 hours away from where I live, all of them are saying this. Can we just move on? I just want to get on with my life. I mean, I've worked in the U.S. too, so I'm just trying to move on. The U.S., maybe y'all don't know, the U.S., they've forgiven me. And I'm going to show you how much, because Seth Rogan has been working with him. As much as he tried to distance himself, he doesn't work with abusers. He has. I got receipts. And had the audacity to ask, speaking the kind of frenzied wish for gratitude and fulfillment from your work, how do you feel when after the accusations you were basically snubbed from these snobby Hollywood people for the Best Actor nomination? How you feel about them being so unfair about not letting you have the Oscar you deserved while you were outed as a predator? What I've really found is I don't want it to sound like platitude, but honestly, this is my experience. Sometimes, here we go. Here comes spiritual man. Spiritual man, this is what all of them do when they get accused of DB, SA, whatever. Spiritual man, he is evolved and he's going to give us advice. Okay. Sometimes life delivers you things. I didn't do anything wrong with those teenagers, those women at the school. I did nothing wrong. Life delivered something to me, and the delivery system is so painful. It was so hard for me. What life gave me unfairly was hard. It hurt. It really hurt. But I felt really proud of the performance in The Disaster Artist. And okay, I wasn't nominated. I don't care. Yeah, but that hurt. It's stabbed to the heart to not be able to take an Oscar while in the active, ultimately from the big picture that I'm talking about, maybe it's for the best. Maybe me traumatizing all those women was the best for my own personal growth. I told y'all, men will always frame it this way. All the trauma they cause, they're like, well, I learned a lesson. Maybe this is what needed to happen for me to become a better man. And they will have a line of bodies, women's bodies, children's bodies, sometimes other men, non-binary, they have a line of bodies of all the people they've traumatized. They're like, yeah, but I learned. I'm better now. Can we move on? Can we just move on now? I learned my lesson. We die from men's lessons. Maybe it was all for the best. You know, I learned the lesson. Who am I to say, silly little me? I'm just like you guys. I'm just this guy trying to work hard and make a living. When I was functioning at that workaholic mode, because I'm not responsible, it's the addiction. A lot of it was, you know, my young self version. So this isn't me. This is young James. Baby James did it. And baby James, you know, a lot of it was my baby James version of what a good life was. And I just got pulled out of that. I got pulled out of that. He's the receiver. He's not the subject of any of these sentences when it comes to why he can't work in Hollywood, although he is. So what is the older version of yourself? Who is the old man, old soul James? Who is the evolved, safe, kind, let's not remember he did all that to women version of James? Well, there's a great book I like to call The Second Mountain. And basically, it talks about how the first mountain is all of our dreams when we're young, like James, baby James, who was, how old was baby James when he did that? I just looked it up. I paused this video to go look this. Let's see, he was born April 1978. Okay, so I am 6 months older than this. He was born in 78, and all this came out in 2018. Baby James was 40 years old when he finally, more or less, and he was in his 30s, mid to late 30s, while doing all of this. Trying to meet up with teenagers. Do you see the way they weaponize boyhood and silly boy to get out of everything? That is what all of them are doing in this case in France. I'm going to show you. All of the men were like, they're in their 60s being like, but I didn't understand the word consent. No one taught me that in school, even though I was in school 50 years ago. Definitely haven't had to learn, not supposed to learn anything since that. God. Our dreams when we're young, and we're trying to achieve those dreams. Some people stay on that first mountain of boyhood for their whole life, but some people are thrown off. You know, I was just thrown off the mountain by these arrogant pricks in Hollywood for like not really doing anything. Again, he was cast out of Hollywood. Bang, thrown off the mountain. Bang, pulled out. Bang. Delivered something from life. Bang. A forced pause. Canceled. Bang. I was thrown off this mountain of boyhood in my 40s, or almost at 40 years old. You can either, you know, this is from a good person or bad. You can either try to get back on that first mountain of boyhood, because everybody on that first mountain is assaulting people. Essaying people, having schools, messaging teenagers, some of y'all are still on that first mountain, but I was thrown off the mountain and forced to be in, what is the second mountain? And the second mountain is more kind of like spiritually oriented, unlike you people. And it's life that's more kind of like service oriented. I am a service oriented man. I am not a selfish prick. I give and give and give and give. I'm thinking about the big picture. I'm thinking about others all the time, never myself. You can tell how thoughtful and not selfish I am just by doing this interview. I am doing this interview for y'all. I could have just not given this interview. And from everything I've read, because I've been reading a lot, y'all. I had nothing else to do during my hiatus. From all the kinds of thinkers and writers and whatever, it seems like that's the more fulfilling life. The second mountain, where us evolved people come because someone forces us off of the essay boyhood mountain. And as painful as it was that these people threw me off the mountain of being a predator, yes, of course, rejection is painful. It's painful being forced to not be able to abuse people so freely. It's, you know, being told that you're bad is painful. Being told you're bad, it's painful. It hurts me. Do y'all know how much you hurt Do you know how much you hurt me? I'm just a baby boy in my 40s who's been hurt by you. This is like literally what he's saying. But ultimately, that's kind of what I needed. I needed to just stop going the way I was going. You would think he was talking about an alcohol problem or something. No. God! Part of growing up is getting caught essaying women and messaging teenagers. That's a part of growing up and becoming a man. Are you a man? How has this amazing, evolved way of thinking changed your life, Jane? I mean, I've been in recovery. Here we go. Recovery for a long time, since I was a teenager. So, y'all, I've been working on myself for a long time. I probably know myself better than you know yourself. And I never had any sort of relapse on substances, but I certainly had strayed away from a kind of regular engagement with my recovery. Bro, engagement with your problem. If you are an addict, you're not engaged with it like engagement. Engagement is somebody... I ask for engagement here all the time. If you like this video, by the way, type a comment, like it, share it. That helps me do well. But engagement with recovery is like literally working every day to become a better person and not destroy yourself and everyone who loves you. But okay, God! And so, a term for that is like dry. I was like emotionally dry, spiritually dry. I was just an addict like all these other men, Brad Pitt, Shia, Russell Brand. Oh, we're all just addicts. We're just addicts, and like we all just let us move on. We've learned our lesson. I just was dry because I wasn't working a strong enough program. But now I'm working my program, so let me have access to women again. And so now I just made a huge part of my life to just stay engaged, give back. I'm a giver. I'm service-oriented. There we go again. Bingo words. Give back. It's a large part of what I've been doing, frankly, and it gives me a lot of relief. And I don't like to talk much about it. I don't like to talk about it too much, because I don't want y'all to know how good of a man I really am. So I'm just going to be vague here. If you only knew how good of a man I am, how many acts of service I am doing, how much I am giving all the time, you would not believe. So I'm not going to talk about it much. Because it's sort of like you get one or the other. You get the credits or you get the relief. You get the credit of being a good person and telling everybody what all you're doing, or, you can keep it a secret and feel good about yourself. But the thing is, by me talking about it so vaguely, you hopefully assume that I'm doing all these amazing things. I'm just not talking about it. I'm just not talking about it. You have no idea how selfless I really am. I'm just not telling y'all. Oh, God, the audacity of this man. So, if you go around and just keep like talking about all the good things that you're doing, you kind of don't get the relief of doing the work. Like if I donated, if I did all these things that someone who truly was making an amends would do, I would have paid all the women I've harmed. I would have, but then if I told y'all about it, then you wouldn't respect me. So you just assume that I am, making good with all the harm I've done. Just assume I'm doing it. I'm just not telling you. Shh. Because that is somebody with what integrity would do. They would do all those things and not tell anybody about it. Now, I actually agree with that in general, but that's what this man is saying. Just because you haven't heard of all the amazing things doesn't mean I'm not doing amazing things. The manipulation of this man. So I haven't really talked about it too much or promoted it or anything. All the amazing things, I'm just not telling y'all. So assume I'm doing extra and give me credit for it. I don't have social media, but that is a big part of my life now. I mean, I really didn't have a personal life. Back when I was like essaying and stuff, like I had friends, but it was always sort of like enmeshed with work. Yeah. And so, like I put a lot of time into my personal life. Now, I've had a relationship for 7.5 years. Me, an abuser who loves teenagers, look at that. I'm different. 7.5 years. Men will always rebrand with a woman. I'm surprised he doesn't have children. That's the next step. That's what he's going to do next to rebrand, is have children. But right now, he's got a woman caping for him and his mom, which I'll go to in a minute. I've never been able to do that before. I was just too scared. I was a scared little boy, really. I didn't really know how to have intimacy, so I just grape people. So it's not that I used to assault women and go after teenagers. I was just a little boy on the first mountain, afraid of intimacy. Just like you, are you afraid of being vulnerable? That's me. I'm just afraid of opening up, and I'm just scared. That's why I did that to all those women. I have an itch to go back to directing. The way these journalists are like literally being like, let's give him a career now. How about directing? I love directing, but I think one thing that I've learned is just patience. And to understand that that when the time is right, things will come to you. It's not that I did anything bad and no one wants anything to do with me other than like enablers and other predators. It's just bad timing. That's it. And I am working a very strong spiritual program, so I trust God, the universe, to bring to me things when it's ready, because that's the only reason why I'm not directing right now. It's not any of the stuff, the hiatus stuff. My young brain, baby James, 40-year-old baby James will come in and say, but I want it, and I want it now. But that's my baby James. That's my, grapey boy. And so what I've learned is I don't know what's on the other side of that. There might be something else that I can't see that is so much, but I swear to God, y'all, do you understand? I say stuff like this on a regular basis. As an artist, rejection is protection. Like, I believe all these things, and he's literally using... He's using this language of really kind of healthy ways of living to gloss over him being a predator. Honestly, and I'm sorry if this sounds like platitudes. That's the second time you used that word, bro. Are you trying to sound fancy pants? But it's really like how I'm trying to live my life. I love directing. I would love to direct. Wink, wink. Anyone out there who want to hire me? I think if it happened, I think it'll happen. It will happen when the time is right. When everyone has collectively forgotten that I'm a predator. Can we just move on yet? Have y'all forgotten yet? Are you in touch with Seth Rogan? Oh, here we go. Now we're going to go into Seth. No. I haven't talked to Seth. I love Seth. We had 20 great years together, but I guess it's over. I guess he broke up with me. And it's not for lack of trying on my part, okay? I've told him how much he's meant to me. Okay, and that's the end. That's the end of it. Now let's talk about Seth. I also want to point out a couple tweets that I thought were great. Looking for something to do this weekend? The James Franco Redemption Tour is now underway. Read all about how being a predator was good for his personal growth. And I want to point out this tweet. People praising Seth Rogan for cutting ties with James Franco seem to forget he knew about these issues for years and only distanced himself when it went public. He didn't take action until it affected his image. Charlyne Yi has been trying to tell you. And I talked about this over a year ago when this garbage came out. I did several videos on this. When this garbage came out, this made me so mad. I did several videos on it. I'll try to remember to link them. It's under my TV movie analysis or whatever. You would think an Inchmel wrote this. Because this adorable guy, played by Seth Rogan, everyone's favorite dork. This adorable, he's just a poor guy. Abusive dad who didn't love him. He peed in his pants as a child. He was bullied by Tommy and Pam. So his revenge was justified. I'm going to go into this in a second, just to remind you in case you forgot. But did you know his buddy James Franco was an executive producer on that show? That show came out in 2022. Now, I know it may have taken years to make this, but Seth Rogan sided with Franco in the beginning. And then even though Franco wasn't starring anything, that man was still working. By the way, I don't know Seth Rogan. I think he's really funny. I don't really care about him, but I have a problem with men who continue to be friends with men who are terrible. I feel bad that Allison Brie married into that family and is still hanging out with them because her brother is, her husband is his brother. I don't know how she can be in the same room with that man. I know this stuff is complicated. Hollywood is very complicated, but Seth Rogan made a choice to side with his friend until he looked bad, and then from my understanding, did not distance himself, just publicly. So let's look into this a little more. This garbage TV show got nominated for all these awards. It wasn't even good. Like I said in my other videos, the many problems I have with that show is that they basically made a whole series about a man that was terrible. And he was a villain. There was the redemption arc they gave him was not deserved. And they didn't have Pamela Anderson's permission. I did so many videos on this, y'all. I hope you go back and watch those. But, anyway, Seth Rogan was very involved in that show. And that show, even the premise of that show, is so disturbing. And then he also claims that he has not worked, even though back in 2018 I supported him, but the truth is I have not and do not work with him. So many reports have said that whatever his name, Gouthier or whatever, he enjoyed the schmegs tape that he stole from Pamela and Tommy, had no regrets over it or its impact. Right now, all he does is he's living his best life in California, selling, and he'll tell anyone who listens that he's the guy who did that because he's proud. There's a lot of think pieces written about this. And Seth Rogan, knowing how he is typecasted, his portrayal of Rand made it really easy for viewers to want to root for this terrible person who publicly humiliated Pamela Anderson, ruined her career on some level, and basically assaulted her in the public. Like revenge corn. Seth is just this adorable, warmly hilarious guy. He's just this guy. If you want to read on one of the best articles I've read on someone really criticizing a TV show, read this one. Empathy tourism. This man did not regret what he did. They wrote a TV showing that he was consumed with. Remember, James Franco was an executive producer on this garbage. Man consumed by regret and obsessed with apologizing. No, he wasn't. All a fantasy. In real life, he lacks remorse. Yet Seth Rogan's sad sack performance makes us feel bad for this little inchman. Pamela and everyone in her family describes it. I even went over that documentary about her on Netflix. Her and her sons hate this movie. They even put scenes in there where he's like, after just taking it and taking it and taking it my whole life, I couldn't take it anymore. That's why I did this to her. This is why I did this. My dad was bad. Everyone beats me up. I'm such a poor man. I'm a victim. Pamela deserved all of it because life's not fair to me. That was the point of this whole movie. To justify this man's public essay, basically, of Pamela. This was his project. And his little friend, old man James, on his second mountain, was a part of this, apparently. Yeah, you've changed a lot, James. And one last thing about this movie. The reality is that no one was punished for this act. And injecting regret and justifiably into this dude's version of it to diminish the far-reaching impact of his actions had not just on Anderson's life, but on the very concept of revenge porn. That is why I hated that movie. And Seth and James, they did this. This came out in 2022. This comedy, the comedy about, it wasn't even funny. I don't even know what they're talking about. Even though Seth Rogan has expressed regret over siding with Frano. Of course he has, because he looks bad. What I can say is that I despise abuse and harassment. I would never cover or conceal the actions of someone doing it. Never. Or knowingly put someone in a situation where they were around someone like that. However, I do look back as an old man, and I do look back at a joke I made on Saturday Night Live in 2014, and I was very much regret making that joke. It was a terrible joke, honestly. And that was when he was mocking the 17-year-old's allegations made against Franco, his buddy. So he covered for him once. Then he basically said nothing, or basically covered for this after all this came out. But Charlyne Yi holds these men's feet to the fire, and I love it. They dismantled Rogan's statement. This was I think last year, a little while ago. They put the pronouns are wrong, pointed out that Rogan stars and produces while Franco was the executive producer. And Charlyne Yi has been calling out how Seth Rogan has some explaining to do, some amends to make. So even though Franco says, I almost wonder if Seth made James say that. In an Instagram post published, he said that Rogan's decision to originally side with Franco was harmful to the women who accused Franco of this. You wrote that Rogan's actions could have caused denial, loss of reality, loss of intuition to protect self from future abusers, lifelong health issues, and or an attempt at schmoocide. That is exactly what this does. So whenever these men are like, whatever, I mean, he's my buddy. Like, this is what you are doing when you side with an abuser. Whether you are Seth Rogan or any of these women who are going to court right now, who are defending the men who raped Giselle Pellico, the mothers, the sisters, the friends, the wives, staying with these men. This is what they're doing too. Anyone who enables men who do this, this is what you're doing. You're causing denial and loss of reality, loss of intuition to protect yourself from future abuse of lifelong health issues like, I don't know, autoimmune stuff and or attempts at schmooze. This right here. So many women die and survivors across gender die of addiction, health issues, and taking their own life. So it is not just the abuser who does this. It is the people who cover, whether it's a picme or Seth Rogan. Ye also provided a checklist for Rogan that included the following requirements. Apologies to survivors for making their lives even more vulnerable by publicly siding with an abuser, further damaging their careers and safety. Oh my God, I love this so much. Commit to educating self about coercion, SA, and how to be a protective ally, and promote protecting and hiring survivors. Hiring survivors. That is so key. And in my life, with the lawyer who helped get a settlement from Larry Nassar, that was one of the things she said. That was one of the things that the gymnasts fought for, was not only put this man away, get a settlement, hold these other people accountable, but to put survivors in positions of power so they can see this stuff before anybody else does and protect people from this. Ye even wrote out the names of who Rogan should directly apologize to. Oh my God, I love that. After he finally distanced himself publicly from Franco and all the unnamed people who have anonymously shared or been too afraid to. He called out the predatory and toxic behavior that took place during the making of the disaster. You know, that film that Franco's like, I mean, it was brilliant, and I deserved the award, Academy Award, because the Golden Globes already. The one that he was like, whatever, I mean, it was painful. Sounds like it was really painful, the people who worked on that with you, bro. He said filmmakers, that means Seth and Franco, minimized their concern after they tried to quit the movie once Franco was accused of SA or misconduct. According to you, the filmmakers went as far as to bribing them with a bigger role to keep them involved in the film. He identified Rogan as one of the enablers who needs to be held accountable. I love this person. By the way, Mose has retired for the day, so sorry. There we go. I'll keep you there, Mose. In this article, look at this quote. You said that filmmakers, which I'm guessing includes Rogan because they're calling out Rogan pretty hard, minimized their concerns and said said Franco being a predator was so last year, and that he changed. Oh, was he on the second mountain yet? No, apparently he didn't go to that mountain until he had his hiatus, until he was thrown off the mountain. This is. They said, when I literally heard him abusing new women that week, that they were gaslighting them. You said they tried to bribe me with a bigger acting role, keep them involved, which is the exact opposite of what I want. So you wanted out of this project. And basically they made it really hard for them to do that. I love this. Enablers are just as toxic and abusers are disgusted by white men choosing power over protecting children and women from predators. Educate, organize, and dismantle corruption in your circles and in the law. Oh, yes, I love this. They added white men saying it's not their responsibility when holding Franco accountable or when holding Seth Rogan enablers accountable. Then whose responsibility is it? The women and children who have PTSD from Franco? The future targets of abuse? Seth Rogan was one of the producers on this film, so he definitely knows about the bribe and why I quit. Seth also did a sketch on SNL with Franco enabling Franco preying on children. After Franco was caught, Franco has a long history of preying on children. This is on top of all the corrupt laws that protect predators made by violent white men. Ugh! See? Remember when I told you in the beginning that a part of these groups, and this is back in, I lived in LA like 2014 to 2017 or whatever. Because I was mostly in New York during all of my time in the biz, and then I was in LA for a little. And it wasn't just for people in LA, but most of the actors were in LA, and this was it. This was all over that group. So I'm not just saying this is like Whisper Network. Whisper networks exist for a reason. They're the only way we can get out information because men don't believe us and won't do anything about it. So we try to protect each other. Just a reminder for Franco has been plagued by accusation. Here we go. Here's the passive thing. Plagued by accusations of dating as far back as 2014 when a 17-year-old girl shared screenshots of messages exchanged between her and Franco, who was then 35. Baby Franco was 35. He's been doing it since he's 35. And showed him trying to arrange a meeting in a hotel room. Franco confirmed the messages and apologized. He didn't even deny that one, y'all. He didn't even deny that one. That's what's crazy. It's not like someone accused and he's like, I didn't do that. They had screenshots. He didn't deny it. He apologized. That's the only one he's been caught. In 2018, the Los Angeles Times had that big thing that you remember when that came out. Published an exhaustive report of 5 women accusing Franco of at his acting school. Only 2 of them filed lawsuits. So he could talk about the lawsuit. Go read this LA Times article. Well, don't if you're not in a good place. This thing he keeps calling the hiatus, his little pause, his little break, the lawsuit that, ruined him because he's just a victim. They were settled. I love that Yi also shared screenshots of Rogan and Franco being listed on IMDb as producers. I'm not sure if they've scrubbed it yet, but I caught that screenshot too. Shortly after Yi posted about Franco's credits on Pam and Tommy, his name was scrubbed off the IMDb page. Well, you saw it here, folks. Baby James from the first mount is a predator, and he isn't on a second mount. He is the same man, and this is his little redemption. Don't believe. And now that the reason why I do this is I want you to see the way all these men talk. Whether they're famous men or the fireman or the baker in Maison, France, they all do the same thing. They have like 4 or 5 different excuses they give, and it's, baby, they didn't know. Once I started seeing the way they talk and write about this, I understood grape culture so much more. I'm sure there's a lot more I could talk about James and Seth. Again, I don't know any of these people. I don't care. But calling out abusers is not enough. We have to call out the enablers as well. I don't care who stands by his side. How much they try to normalize this man having a comeback. And how they try to hide behind being a schmegs addict. I don't even believe that that's a thing, honestly. Whatever. It's another topic. Pay attention to the way these men talk about themselves and the people who enable them. Here's another one. In 2000, there were some complaints about me. There was that silly article. So I just thought, I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to pause. God, he's been doing this forever. People that were upset with me. Like, you didn't just cancel dinner plans or not show up to someone's birthday. You preyed on children. So I need to listen and go to that second mountain. I've been doing a lot of work, and I'm pretty confident. Substance abuse, addiction, blah, 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 blah. Tools, recovery, blah. But he had a woman by his side. They started dating they dated for like 6 weeks or something. 6 months, and then this came out, and she stood by his side. She's incredible. I'm so lucky I found her. Yeah, you are. He's not on Instagram anymore because it's silly. That's where I think he was DMing teenagers, by the way. And anyone who's a fan of him and this woman who covers for him and enables, they can follow Franco's mom's account because she won't. His girlfriend won't post anything about him, probably because she's trying not to whatever. But the mom is just so proud of her baby boy. Goes to Paris with them. Just all these photos of, great loving family. Happy birthday, my Dan. You are so loving, so generous, and so full, so creative. Y'all, behind every predator is a woman, a mother, a wife, a sister, a friend who covers for him. It is not just Seth. It is mommy with baby Jane. Oh, and he launched a clothing brand. Look at this dumb jacket. Good living, good dying, good laughing, real crying. God, this is so dumb. During the pandemic, she posted, look, there he is on a Zoom call. They're doing we're just all the same here. Look at the date, 2018. He's such a wonderful son to have. There's pictures of Christmas. They're all in onesie. Ugh. Mark my word, this man will have he will have a thriving career again at some point, because we'll forget. And his rebranding has been going on for a while, and this is the start of him coming back into our lives. Don't buy it. Let me know what you think, y'all. I'm sure you have stuff to add. I didn't do a huge deep dive on this man because I just can't. I can't. Please like, comment, share, and engage with my content. Follow my Patreon, even if you can't afford a tier. That's where you keep up with what all I'm doing. I've got a live coming up soon, November 13th, with the author of this amazing book. If you haven't read it, please read it. I can't wait. She's a journalist, author, amazing woman. And let me know if you heard the comment song. Let me know if I should do Darvo Bingo again. Okay, bye. Welcome to the comment song. Stuff I see when I'm walking around. Last night I saw those stairs. Last weekend I saw these stairs. Blah, 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 blah. The comment song. If you're new here, I show random crap that I like to take photos of to give you something to look at while you type. But then maybe you won't type anything that makes any sense. So maybe push pause while you type. I love to hear your comments for the comment song. Look at these stairs, they're painted all over Leon, and this stuff is everywhere. I don't know why, just people posting stuff because they feel like it. This is the worst song ever, sorry. I don't know who this man is with the little white goatee beard thingy, blah, blah, blah. I was like, is that an astronaut? I don't know. Anyway, the comment song. Are you typing a comment? Tap, comment song. This is my comment song. It's really weird today. What is that? I can't see right now. Whatever. Doesn't matter. It's cool. Look at the butterfly. Comment song. Comment song. Let me know if you heard this. Bye.